I'm pretty sure that you're familiar with the phrase, as one door closes, another opens, or at least a variation of that phrase, but you understand what it means. As something ends, something new begins. And that is definitely the energy signature of this upcoming new moon in Pisces. But this new moon takes it a step further. We're not just opening doors, portals are being opened for us. Other worlds, other dimensions are literally opening up to us at this time. However, it's almost like you have to be a little delusional in order to see it. So many of us, especially now, are embroiled in what's going on in our realities in terms of what's on the news, what we're seeing in grocery stores, what's happening with our jobs. And not to invalidate any of that, because those things are important. It's just that this new moon wants you to suspend all of that. This new moon wants you to tap into your imagination. This new moon wants you to be a little delulu so that you can see this portal that's opening right in front of you. It's almost like if you're looking for an escape from everything that's happening right now, this new moon is going to offer it to you, but it's a limited time offer. So unless you're ready to suspend your disbelief and put your imagination in the driver's seat, this energy may just pass you by. Now, one of the qualities of this new moon that may feel a little different from the last couple of new moons that we've experienced is that this one is very forward-looking. Now, this particular new moon in Pisces is the last in a series of new moons since November that have been at the 9th degree. And the 9th degree is about finality. It's about completion. It's about closing one door and opening another. And this is the last of the new moons where we're doing so. And being that it's the last, now it's time to look to the future. Now it's time to look ahead. Now it's really time to flex that imagination muscle and create the world that you ultimately want to experience. Everything about this new moon is magic, if you'll only believe. All right, so if you want to know more about everything that this new moon in Pisces has to offer, stick around. You definitely don't want to miss this. Hello, my loves. As always, I hope that this video finds you well and in excellent spirits. So this video is all about the upcoming new moon in Pisces happening on Thursday, February 27th at 7:44 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, so of course, we know the deal, right? New moons are all about setting new intentions and planting new seeds. It is when the lunar cycle begins again, and so can we. The slate is wiped clean, we have a fresh start, and we have so much ahead of us. And like I said before, that is definitely the case with this new moon in Pisces. Now, Pisces in and of itself is about finality, right? It is the last sign of the zodiac. A lot of astrologers like to characterize Pisces as the dustpan of the zodiac because it basically collects everything from Aries to and including Pisces, right? And so within the energy signature of Pisces, we have this wisdom through experience that we've gained because we've started at Aries and now we have made our way to the end of the zodiac. And not even just that, Pisces season is sort of like the Gregorian calendar's December. It's when things wrap up. It's when we tie loose ends while simultaneously getting ready for the new year. And of course, as you know, the new year, the actual new year, begins with Aries season in March. And so, like I said before, this is the last new moon in a series of new moons at the 9th degree. And that 9th degree is the end. It signifies completion, but not finality. It's like finishing a chapter and now going on to the next one. And so with Pisces being so ethereal, with Pisces being about imagination, with Pisces being about dreams and fantasies and all of that wonderful spiritual ethereal energy, this is the energy that we're working with at this new moon. So, like I said before, this is going to be one of those times when you don't necessarily want it to be rooted in reality. You don't want to create from a place of merely what you can see and sense with your five senses. That is not how Pisces works. And with new moons being so fertile, your imagination can really give birth to a reality that you've always dreamed of. Now, Pisces does get sort of a bad rep for being aloof, head in the clouds, really unrealistic. But the one thing that you need to understand is that there is a place for that. We are not here on Earth merely to exist, merely to work, to pay bills. That's not what we are designed or intended for. You have to think beyond your current station. You have to think beyond the limitations of what this 3D reality is offering you at the moment. That is the way that you create a new reality. And like I said before, there's a portal that's opening right now. Now, as I film this, or as I record this, I should say, it's Saturday, February 22nd in the second month of the year. So 222. So there definitely is a portal open right now, right? But the way that this portal sort of is presenting itself, it's like, imagine that you're in a long hallway, right? Full of doors. Like, let's say an office building, perhaps. There's doors to the right, doors to the left. But when you look to the right, you notice something in between two of these realistic looking doors that kind of looks like a swirling universe, and it seems sort of out of place. And you're wondering, can anyone else see that? Is this real? Like, what's going on? I feel like that's the energy of this new moon in Pisces. It's like this random wormhole, this random universal portal, right? Something really magical, sci-fi and fantastical that is presenting itself. And the minute that you step through this portal, you can experience something that you've never experienced before. It could be your wildest dreams. It could be the most craziest fantasy. It could be anything that takes you away from the reality that is life at the moment. And there's always a place for that. There's always a time for that. And thankfully for us, that time is this week with this new moon in Pisces. All right, so let's get into the numerology and talk about what other underlying energy is at our fingertips with this new moon. All right, so much of what I'm going to discuss right now is really a rehash of last month's new moon, the month before's new moon, because like I said, all of these new moons since November have been at the 9th degree. So much like those, this upcoming new moon in Pisces is sponsored by the number 9. Now, as I mentioned before, 9 is the number of completion, but not finality, right? It's closing one chapter, opening another within the same book, right? Now keep this in mind, because come next month, the new moon is going to be a solar eclipse in Aries, and that is when we're going to be opening a whole new book, perhaps a whole new bookstore. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's get back to the matter at hand. Okay, so completion but not finality. It's, like I said before, one door closes, another opens. Now, the one thing that I want to stress with the energy of this new moon, particularly in the sign of Pisces, is that it relies on your wisdom. Like I said before, Pisces is known as the dustpan of the zodiac. So everything that you've collected from Aries season, last Aries season to now, is sort of on the table in front of you. And now it's up to you to decide what you're going to do with it. What have you learned? What experiences have shaped your life, right? Again, I want you to remember that we're not here just merely to survive, or we're not merely just here to pay bills or work. There's so much richness, there's so much experience that this universe has to offer to us, and Pisces wants you to, sort of like Alice in Wonderland, fall down the rabbit hole, step through that portal, as weird as it may look, right? This is the new moon where, when you're setting new intentions, it's not about, oh, I want money to pay my rent, or, oh, I want to be able to get a car, or I want this relationship. I want you to focus on your wildest dreams. Seriously. Even though that sounds like a paradox. Seriously, tap into that imagination, okay? There's also this energy of compassion and love. I'm talking about love, like affectionate love, like, romance novel love. That's definitely a part of the Pisces energy signature. So if that is what you want to experience in this lifetime, don't limit yourself. Set those intentions, plant those seeds this week. It's like the universe is waiting for you to untether yourself from the heaviness that this reality entails, right? Everything about Earth, everything about this 3D reality, it's heavy, it's dense, it's slow, it's a process, it's very Saturnian, right? And interestingly enough, although this new moon will not be conjunct Saturn, Saturn is still in the sign of Pisces, so there's this element of planting the seeds and them actually taking shape. The thing with Pisces is that Pisces can be so ethereal. It can be very difficult to see progress when we're talking about Pisces energy, because Pisces is in the sky. It's in the universe. It's not rooted here on Earth. But the beauty of this particular new moon in Pisces with the current astrological configuration is that Saturn is there. So those wild dreams, those fantasies, yeah, they're going to start to take shape, for better or for worse, right? Let me give you a little bit of my business and give you an example. So I am someone who's been into manifestation since The Secret, right? Like 20 years ago. So not only am I aging myself, but kind of been in this game for a minute. Side note, I feel like The Secret is like the gateway drug to spirituality and manifestation, but that's another story for another video. Anyway, manifestation has always been my thing, but in the last 10 years with the popularity of vision boards, I was like, that's not really my thing. I've been someone who visualizes, right? And there have been times where I've had pictures of things that I like, but nothing really intentional. And then this past December, Spirit sort of knocked me upside the head and was like, listen, you need to get back to basics. You really need to do a vision board. And I kind of said to Spirit, like, are you kidding me? Like, vision boards? That's not me. And I'm not knocking anyone who does vision boards or vision boards themselves. I just thought that's not really me. That's not really how I roll, right? Spirit was like, listen, this year, I'm not telling you got to do them every year, but this year, you got to do them. So I obliged and I made a vision board. Honey, can I tell you? And some of the things I put on there are things that seem far-reaching, perhaps out of my league. Although I don't believe that, but objectively speaking, they may seem like they're out of my league. Honey, as soon as I put this vision board together, Spirit was like, listen, these things, you have them already. You just need to attune to the frequency. And when I mean that, I mean I started to see traces, evidence of the very things I put on my vision board. And I'm not saying this in some woo-woo spiritual aesthetic, rose-colored glasses kind of thing. I'm like, this thing is freaking me out to the point where, I'm looking at it right now. It's right at my workstation. The things that are coming together are blowing my mind in a way that's almost scaring me because it's happening so quickly. I mean, I did this last month. It's only been a month. But the things are literally coming into my reality faster than I could have ever imagined. Now, this isn't an advertisement for vision boards, although given my current experience, I would definitely recommend it. But it's to give evidence to the fact that whatever you're dreaming right now, It's coming true. Point blank, period. So you need to really focus on what it is that you're dreaming. You know, we can have the propensity to have our imaginations run wild, right? Positively, we can think about the most ideal relationship, the best job, the best family situation, right? And then conversely, we can think of the worst case scenario, doomsday, death, doom, and destruction, right? The thing that you need to understand with Pisces energy is that the emotion that you put into those imaginations, into those fantasies, is what is coming to pass right now. So it's not to say that you need to really monitor your thoughts, but you kind of do a little bit. Think of the best case scenario, even if it seems out of your league or far-fetched. It's your reality. It's what is waiting for you if you're willing to step through that portal. And then the beauty of it is that once you step through that portal, this reality that you're trying to get away from, it will vanish. It'll turn into dust and blow and scatter into the wind. This is a new moon where you can change everything. So do that. You deserve it. All right, so now, I don't know, did I talk enough? I didn't really talk about the numerology. I kind of went on a tangent, but in terms of the technicalities of the number 9, right? The astrology associated with the number 9 is Sagittarius, which is the dreamer, right? The glyph for Sagittarius is the arrow. The arrow is pointing into a different stratosphere. So I think that's pretty self-explanatory, right? It's expansive. It's open-minded. You need to be open-minded right now. Seriously. It's also associated with the sign of Aries. Aries is bold and initiating, right? And especially with Mars now being direct at the time of this new moon, be fearless. Walk through that portal. I mean, it looks weird, right? It looks otherworldly. It doesn't look like any of the other doors in this hallway, right? But be brave and fearless and go through it. You definitely won't regret it. Now, in terms of the tarot, the number 9 is associated with the Hermit, okay? It is a sage-like wisdom with a connection to the divine. You know how I said ad nauseum at this point that Pisces is the dustpan of the zodiac, right? And so with that comes wisdom. You can rely on your wisdom. Whatever is beyond that portal, know that you can handle it. You're not completely green. You've been on this earth long enough to know that certain things go certain ways. You can change certain things. You are wise. So tap into that wisdom when you are setting these intentions at this new moon. Now, the other thing that I like to examine with numerology are the Sabian symbols. And the Sabian symbols are archetypal stories for each degree of the zodiac. And so the Sabian symbol for 9 degrees of Pisces is an aviator in the clouds, okay? It shows being able to stay on course, not allowing distractions or difficult, confusing issues to deter you from your destination, right? Like I said, with this new moon, you have to suspend your disbelief. You have to quiet the noise of everything that's going around you. Pro tip, stop watching the news. Stop listening to the news. It's a verified circus right now. And it is meant to distract you, right? You've got places to go. You've got other dimensions to explore. Leave the foolishness, leave the mediocrity, leave this, whatever this is, behind. Keep your eyes on the prize and to the sky with this new moon, okay? And this bodes well with the astrology for this new moon in Pisces, because the pertinent astrology related to this new moon, despite the fact that the sun and the moon are conjunct, right? That is the essence of a new moon. But this new moon is actually going to be square to Jupiter. This is important because Jupiter is the ruling planet of Pisces. It's one of the ruling planets. The other ruling planet of Pisces is Neptune, that's currently in Pisces. So, to boil that down to its essence and to put it in layman's terms, this new moon is extra. Okay? It is over the top. It's exaggerated. It is taking your imagination to places you've never been. There is nothing realistic about this new moon, and I want you to remember that, because you don't need to settle for the realistic at this time. Okay? You don't need to rely on the tried and true. You don't need to recreate what's already been created. This portal that you're walking through, it's a whole new world. And as I say that, I hear the song from Aladdin playing in my head, and it's giving me such a sense of nostalgia right now, right? But anyway, so there are caveats to this energy, right? When we're talking about Pisces, Neptune, Jupiter, right? These major players for this new moon, it can lead to excess. It could lead to completely unrealistic expectations, right? But for some reason, the way that I'm feeling, it's like, I feel like the universe is like, listen, be unrealistic. And then, like I mentioned before, that a sense of being unrealistic, that reliance on your imagination, that's what is going to solidify thanks to Saturn that's currently in Pisces. But the cherry on top with this is that the North Node is now in Pisces. And while it is not conjunct the new moon, the energy of the North Node permeates the energy of this new moon. And essentially what that means is that these desires, these dreams, these fantasies, everything that's in your imagination, it's destined. Everything that you're imagining and thinking, you're just remembering things that you already have. And I want you to really sit with that and let that sink in. You're not imagining something that doesn't exist. You're remembering something you already have. And the universe is like, baby, I want you to bring this thing front of mind. I don't care how outlandish you think it is. You want to be a unicorn that shits diamonds? Guess what? We're doing that on Tuesday. You want to have the most beautiful man ride up on a horse and sweep you off your feet and you guys ride into the sunset? Oh yeah, it's happening. That's because these things are yours already. The North Node is helping you align with it all. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that miraculous? Isn't that magical? I think that you can tell by the cadence of how I'm speaking and my tone of voice that I've tapped into the energy of this new moon already. It's magical, it's soft, it's compassionate, it's wise, it's imaginary, it's sprinkled with fairy dust. It's everything that you want and more. But like I said, it's a limited time offer. It could also be a great way to escape your current reality. Pisces is the master of escapism. Houdini, I'm sure, had prominent Pisces placements. That ability to disappear, the illusion, the magic of it all, that's very much Pisces. And so if you are not happy where you're at, if you don't like what's going on in your life, this new moon is offering you an exit door, a golden parachute, whatever you want to call it. This new moon is serving it up on a silver platter. So, are you going to take it? Or are you too busy watching the news? Are you too busy embroiled in the price of eggs? Now, again, these things are not, it's not that I'm invalidating these things. It's just that the new moon in Pisces wants you to forget it for a little while, wants you to be delusional, wants you to believe in magic, wants you to have faith, and most importantly, wants you to walk through that portal. All right, so now that we've gotten the technical things out of the way, let's talk about manifestation with this new moon in Pisces. All right, so as we all know, the new moon phase is when you plant new seeds and set new intentions. And that's exactly what you do at this new moon in Pisces. So, given everything that I've mentioned before, I'm going to try to condense this information so you know exactly what to do with this new moon. Number one, take the time to imagine, okay? And this is important because with so much designed to distract us right now, taking the time to imagine, to daydream, to sleep, to remember your dreams may be a little difficult. So you may have to be intentional. So the energy of the new moon lasts for 3 days before and 3 days after. So essentially, the week of February 24th, I want you to devote time for imagination, devote time to sleep, devote time to be quiet, to meditate, and to allow your mind to wander. Number two, I want you to watch your emotions. Pisces is a water sign, right? It's actually a mutable water sign. So when it comes to emotions, it's the fuel that powers the car of conscious creation. Now, what that means in layman's terms is that your emotions, right? If we're talking about imagination, and then we're talking about the emotions that those imaginations evoke, it's those emotions that help bring them to reality. And remember I said with Saturn in Pisces, it's like, whatever we're whatever we're imagining and feeling will indeed come to reality, will come to pass. So be mindful of your emotions. Yes, your imagination may go to dark places or may go to the worst case scenario. Recognize it, observe it, and then let it go. And then get back to imagining the best case scenario and your wildest dreams. Number three, I want you to, be mindful of doubt. But what I mean to say is, remember how I said before that the North Node is in Pisces, and it's allowing us to remember what's already ours. So when your imagination shows you things, and even if it's not your imagination, maybe you're seeing signs and synchronicities, maybe your dreams are very prophetic, don't doubt what you're seeing, right? It's the universe saying, this is yours already. Like, think of it this way. Imagine you are a shopaholic, right? And Amazon and online shopping is your best friend. You've purchased so many things that you've forgotten that you've had them. So you have a closet that's full of stuff. Perhaps it's even full of unopened boxes. This new moon in Pisces is like, okay, let's go in here, let's turn on the light, let's get our box cutter and see what's in these boxes. And before you know it, you're looking at things that have been in your possession that you completely forgot. That is the essence of the North Node in Pisces, particularly as it pertains to this new moon. So don't doubt what you're seeing. Don't say, I don't know if I can get it or whatever. Suspend all of that. It's yours. You have it already. You're just remembering, okay? And I guess the last thing I'll say with this is be intentional about all of this. New moons, like I said, it's our ability to start over. We have a clean slate. And like I said, this portal, it's open. Are you going to walk through? But you got to be intentional about it. So heed this advice and try to make this new moon in Pisces your escape, your foray into a new dimension, the gateway to a new reality. These aren't just euphemisms. This is the truth based on the current astrology. All right, my loves, that concludes this video on the upcoming new moon in Pisces. I sincerely hope that there was at least one important piece of information that you gained from this video that you can take into this new moon and beyond. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in my next video. Take care and happy manifesting.